Yes, an amazing Wednesday morning to you listeners out there. The program you're on to is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. It is a program where we preview and review to you headlines and news making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. I am Inioluwa Adekoya, and this morning, talking headlines, I've got with me the Punch newspaper, the Oak newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and the Daily Post newspaper. Right about now, I am going to go on a short break. When I get back, I'll dish out to you headlines making rounds in the papers today. Yes, welcome back. Like I made mention earlier, the program is in the papers on our Power 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning from the Oak newspaper, Ondo APC seeks Oluwateru support for 2027 polls. Yeah, still on the Oak newspaper, NAFDAC once against unregistered Menofix capsules. Yeah, still taking headlines from the Oak newspaper, World Bank to developing countries embrace AI or keep lagging. Yeah, still talking headlines, talking 2027. Tinubu's only candidate who can win Rivers, says Wike. Yeah, still talking headlines. Tinubu hails Team Nigeria's 24-medal Commonwealth feat. Still on the Herb newspaper, AAUA ASU suspends strike after salary payment. And now I take a flight to the Daily Post newspaper, talking Abia State. Abia Assembly passes law to protect tenants from landlords' house agents. And now talking Osun 2026, Governor Adeleke alleges EFCC's plot to freeze government's accounts. Yeah, still on the Daily Post newspaper, Concasso backs Catholic bishops, blasts Tinubu's administration. Yeah, still on the Daily Post newspaper, talking digital economy boost, and CC leases digital industrial park learning centers to Enugu government. And now taking headlines directly from the Punch newspaper, military salaries hit 924 billion naira as Tinubu approves pay rise. Yeah, still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper, DHQ reopens surrender window for Southeast gunmen. Still on the Punch newspaper, police summon very dark man, quiz AIG over allegations. And now talking fake agency probe wraps to grill controversial DG at undisclosed location. Still taking headlines, federal government votes 2.5 trillion naira for Abuja-Lokoja Enugu PH 122 roads. Yeah, still talking headlines. Robbers shoot LASU graduate during attack on POS operators, and that is coming from the Punch newspaper. And finally, on the Punch newspaper, doctors suspend strike as presidency brokers truce. And now over to the nation's newspaper. Businessman Adeyemi scammed me of 400 million naira. Yeah, still on the nation's newspaper, Wike writes of Atiku Amechi Obi Kwankwaso tickets. And finally, talking headlines on the nation's newspaper, federal government orders varsities to expel students linked to kidnapping. Yes, and with that, we will go on another short break. When I get back, I'll give you more headlines and more news making rounds in the papers this morning. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, and I will be right back. Glad to have you back. Like I made mention earlier, this is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our news this morning from the Oak newspaper, Ondo APC seeks Oluwateru's support for 2027 polls. And now to the details. The Ondo State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC has appealed to former Deputy Governor Otumba Omolade Oluwateru to support the party reconciliation effort and the mobilization for the re-election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa and President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general election. The appeal was made during a courtesy visit by members of the State Working Committee SWC, led by the State Chairman, Mr. Babatunde Kolawole, to the former Deputy Governor's residence in Akure. Speaking during the visit, Kolawole described Oluwateru as a respected statesman, an experienced politician whose wealth of knowledge and leadership remained invaluable to the party. He urged the elder statesman to continue supporting Governor Aiyedatiwa's led administration and the APC's vision for a continued development of Ondo State. He said the party would benefit immensely from Oluwateru's experience, fatherly guidance, and commitment to the progressive family, adding that his continued support would further strengthen the APC ahead of the next general election. The APC chairman explained that the party's reconciliation committee was established to engage members dissatisfied with the outcome of the recent primary election, resolve grievances, and promote lasting peace and unity within the party. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, Ondo APC seeks Oluwateru's support for 2027 polls. Yes, moving on, well, we've got this on the newspaper. NAFDAC warns against unregistered Menofis capsules. And now to the details. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has raised the alarm over the circulation of an unregistered health supplement, Menofix capsules, warning Nigerians to stop buying or using the product because of possible liver-related health risk. The agency, in a public alert issued recently, said investigations revealed that the product marketed by Pure Eve is not registered with NAFDAC and has not been evaluated for safety, quality, or efficacy, despite being widely sold through online platforms and retail outlets. NAFDAC said its post-marketing surveillance directorate uncovered the product's regulatory status after receiving a complaint over its sale and concerns that some of its ingredients could cause adverse effects on the liver. According to the agency, the unregistered Menofix should not be confused with Menofix herbal capsules and Menofix powder, which are duly registered under the herbal and neuropractice category and manufactured by Gudu Gudu Herbal Worldwide Enterprise. The agency explained that the product is promoted as an hormone-free, vegetarian-friendly, multivitamin and herbal supplement designed to help women manage the physical hormonal changes associated with premenopause and menopause. However, it warned that consumers risk using the product whose safety and effectiveness have not been verified by the country's medicine regulator. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, NAFDAC warns against unregistered Menofix capsules. Still on the Herb newspaper, Court opposed Electoral Act dismisses NDC suit. And now to the details. The Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by the National Democratic Congress NDC challenging provisions of the Electoral Act 2026 on the qualification and disqualification of candidates for elective offices. Justice Mohammed Umar held that the suit marked FHC/ABJ-CS 635-2025 lacked merit, ruling that the disputed provisions of the Electoral Act complemented rather than conflicted with the 1999 Constitution. The NDC had sued the Attorney General of the Federation, the Clerk of the National Assembly, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, seeking, among other reliefs, declarations that Section 138 and 77 subsection 5 of the Electoral Act 2026 were unconstitutional. The plaintiff also urged the court to hold the question bordering on qualification of candidates could still be raised after election. However, Justice Umar upheld preliminary objection challenging the competence of the suit, holding that the plaintiff was merely inviting the court to interpret constitutional and statutory provision. The judge said the plaintiff was invoking the interpretative jurisdiction of the Honorable Court in respect of the provision of the Electoral Act 2026 and the 1999 Constitution. He further added that the mere attachment of INEC election timetables to the originating summons did not transform the case into a pre-election matter. On the objection raised by the Clerk of the National Assembly, Justice Umar held that the plaintiff failed to comply with the statutory requirement of serving a pre-action notice before commencing the proceedings. It ruled the non-service of the pre-action notice on the second defendant make the suit incompetent against second defendant before striking out the action against the clerk. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, Court upholds Electoral Act dismisses NDC suit. Yes, still on the Herb newspaper, $52.5 billion reserve, stable Naira, signal economic recovery, says CBN. And now to the details. The Central Bank of Nigeria said recent stability in the foreign exchange market, rise in foreign reserves, and moderation in inflation were indications that its ongoing monetary reforms were beginning to yield positive results. The CBN Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, represented by the Acting Director, Corporate Communications and Investor Relations Department of the CBN, Mrs. Akama Sidiali, stated this at the CBN Fair held at the International Conference Center, Gombe. The fair, organized under the theme Driving Alternative Payment Channels as Tools for Financial Inclusion, Growth and Accelerated Economic Development, was designed to deepen public understanding of the Apex Bank's policies and initiative. Cardoso said the headline inflation declined marginally from 15.93% in May 2026 to 15.91% in June, while core and food inflation also eased during the period. He attributed the development to what he described as disciplined monetary tightening, exchange rate unification, and improved market transparency. According to him, the Naira had already recorded greater stability, with the gap between the official exchange rate and the Bureau de Change rates narrowing to below 2%. Cardoso further disclosed the Nigerian foreign reserve stood at about $52.5 billion as of July 17th, 2026, describing the figures as 70-year high and above the CBN annual target. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline $52.5 billion reserve, stable Naira signal economic recovery, says CBN. Yes, still on the Herb newspaper, AAUA ASU suspends strike after salary payment. And now to the details. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Adekoya Jashin University, Akumbakoko chapter, has suspended the industrial action it embarked on over the non-payment of salaries. The development came barely a day after staff of the Ondo state-owned institution began receiving their outstanding salaries following the release of 1.1 billion naira intervention fund approved by Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. Confirming the suspension in a telephone interview with newsmen, the chairman of AAUA ASU, Professor Bulu Oshudi, said the union resolved to suspend the strike after its major demand had been met. According to him, academic activities will resume following the payment of the outstanding May and June salaries owed to the members. The strike has been suspended. Our members received their outstanding salaries for May and June yesterday, and in line with our principles, once our demands are met, we suspend any industrial action. While commending the intervention that led to the payment of the salaries, Oshodi urged the Ondo state government to ensure prompt release of funds required for the smooth running of the university to prevent further disruption. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, AAUA asks to suspend strike after salary payment. Still taking headlines from the Herb newspaper, customs enlist 3,852 out of 573,680 applicants. And now to the details. The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, has released the final list of 3,852 successful candidates for its 2024-2025 recruitment exercise and announced that recruitment into the service will now be conducted annually to ensure a more predictable and efficient employment process. The Comptroller General of Customs, Bashiru Adewale Adeniyi, MFR, made this announcement during a press briefing, saying the successful candidate comprises 1,275 in the Superintendent Cadre and 367 in the Inspectorate Cadre, 2,210 in the Customs Assistant Cadre, bringing to an end the recruitment exercise that commenced in December 2024. The Comptroller General attributed the delay in concluding the exercise to the overwhelming number of applications received, extension verification procedures, and administrative challenges arising from the retirement of senior officers, while assuring applicants that the integrity of the process was never compromised. He apologized to applicants and their families for the prolonged wait, saying the service received 573 applications for only 3,852 vacancies, all of which had to undergo rigorous screening, a computer-based examination, and verification against the National Identity Database. According to him, the final list reflects merit, transparency, fairness, stressing that every successful candidate earned a place after passing through several stages of assessment. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, Customs enlist 3,852 out of 573 million applicants. So on, and now moving to the Daily Post newspaper, talking Osun 2026, Governor Adeleke alleges EFCC plot to freeze government account. And now to the details. Osun State Governor Inioluwa Adekoya has alleged that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) is planning to freeze the bank account of the state government ahead of the August 15 governorship election. This allegation was contained in a statement issued in Osogbo by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, on behalf of the governor. According to the statement, the state government received credible reports that the anti-graft agency had concluded plans to freeze all Osun State government accounts. The governor also alleged that the EFCC was planning to freeze the account of top government functionaries, a move that would disrupt government operation in the days leading to the governorship election. Adeleke described the alleged plan as the height of lawlessness, and the attempt to freeze the state's accounts will be aimed at paralyzing government activities before residents go to poll on the 15th of August. It maintained that the reported move, if carried out, would amount to an abuse of power and could undermine the smooth running of government's businesses during a critical period in the state. Governor Adeleke also described it as an emerging threat to the administration's ability to function ahead of the election. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Osun 2026, Governor Adeleke alleges EFCC plot to freeze government account. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, Kwankwaso backs Catholic bishops blast Tinubu's administration. And now to the details. The Nigerian Democratic Congress NDC vice presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso has thrown his weight behind Catholic bishops over their position during the recent meeting held with President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. Kwankwaso, in a post on his verified X handle, lauded the bishops for demonstrating what he described as courage and patriotism by drawing attention to the realities confronting Nigerians. It dismissed the insinuation that the bishops' concerns regarding the rising cost of living, the worsening insecurity, declining public confidence, and the hardship faced by millions of Nigerians were partisan. The former Kano State Governor added that the cleric's concerns reflect the daily experiences of ordinary citizens across every region of the country. He lamented that millions of Nigerians continue to struggle under the weight of economic hardship, unemployment, insecurity, poor access to quality education and healthcare, and diminishing opportunities despite the country being blessed with abundant human and natural resources. According to him, the challenge demands urgent, sincere, and people-centered responses from those entrusted with leadership. He further urged all well-meaning Nigerians to continue constructively engaging the federal government and other leaders at all levels whenever the opportunity arises, advocated for good governance, accountability, and policies that prioritize the security, welfare, and prosperity of our people. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Kwankwaso backs Catholic bishops blast Tinubu's administration. Yes, I've got this on the Daily Post newspaper, budgeting 1.8 trillion naira to cooperative college, a blueprint to defraud Nigerians. Article 8 Tinubu. And now to the details. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Atiku Abubakar, has expressed grave concerns over revelation from the 2026 Appropriation Act, independently analyzed by Tracker, showing that the Federal Cooperative College, OG Rivers Enugu State, was allocated a staggering 1.8 trillion naira to execute 2,791 capital projects across the 36 state and federal capital territory. Article said allocating such amount to a cooperative college is not governance, but more like a blueprint to defraud Nigerians. In a statement issued by his senior special assistant and public communication, Frank Shaibu, Atiku commended Tracker for exposing what appears to be one of the most disturbing examples of budget distortion under the Tinubu's administration. He said the revelation comes at a time when the presidency is asking Nigerians to believe that painful reforms, higher taxes, and unprecedented borrowings are products of prudent economic management. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, budgeting 1.8 trillion naira to cooperative college, a blueprint to defraud Nigerians. Article 8 Tinubu. Yes, the program you're still on to is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Right about now, I will go on a short break. When I get back, I will officially open the phone lines for comments and contribution as regards the news that has been read out to you. Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Like I said earlier, it is a program where we preview and reveal to you headlines and news making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. Yes, the phone lines are officially open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699. You can call in to make comments as regards any of the news that has been read out to you. The number to call in, like I said earlier, is 0816 552 4699. And now to the Punch newspaper. Military salaries hit 924 billion naira as Tinubu approves pay rise. And now to the details. President Bola Tinubu has approved a salary increase of between 30 to 80% for about 250,000 personnel of the armed forces, raising the military annual wage bill from 660 billion naira to 924 billion naira, and what is the biggest upward review of the military salaries under his administration. The new pay structure, which takes effect from the 1st of September 2026, grants the highest increase to junior personnel, with soldiers from the rank of private to staff sergeant receiving an 80% salary increase, warrant officers to colonels getting 50%, while brigadier generals to generals will earn 30% more. Announcing the package, the presidency said the salary review was in recognition of the sacrifices military personnel continue to make in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping, adding that the administration will continue to prioritize troops' welfare and modernize the armed forces with advanced weapons and technology. The announcement drew widespread commendation from retired senior military officers who described the pay rise as a major morale booster capable of improving troop commitment, recruitment, and professional effectiveness. They, however, urged the federal government to ensure prompt implementation and complement the salary review with modern weapons and provide logistics, accommodation, healthcare, and other welfare packages. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Military Salaries Eat 924 billion naira as Tinubu approves pay. Yes, the phone lines are still open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. And now to the Punch newspaper. DHQ reopens surrender window for Southeast gunmen. And now to the details. The Defense Headquarters has expanded its surrender policy for non-state actors nationwide, previously limited largely to terrorists and bandits operating in the northeast, northwest, north central, and the policy now extends to armed groups in the southeast, south-south, and the southwest. The Director of Defense Media Operation, Major General Michael Onoja, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja while responding to questions in the recent surrender of some militants to troops of the Operation Udoka in the southeast. Asked whether the surrender option has now been extended beyond insurgency-ravaged regions, Onoja replied in a quote, yes, they are welcome to surrender. The FN will receive them in line with international laws and Geneva Convention and transfer them to the relevant legal authorities for necessary actions. The armed forces continues to act in line with the rules of engagement, international humanitarian laws and constitutions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on whether there was a deadline for non-state actors wishing to lay their weapons and defense. Spokesman said there was none. No, they are allowed to surrender anytime they wish to. However, military kinetics operation is being intensified. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, DHQ reopens surrender window for Southeast gunmen. Yes, so on the Punch newspaper, police summon very dark man accuse AIG over allegations. And now to the details. The Nigerian police force has reaffirmed its commitment to due process, institutional discipline, and rule of law amid the controversy surrounding social media influencer Martins Osa, popularly known as Very Dark Man, and the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Lagos, AIG Moshood Jimo. In a statement posted on its X handle, the Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Ani Iniadu, said the criminal matter referenced a recent public comment by a Very Dark Man had been investigated and was already before a court following legal advice from the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. The police stressed that since the case was before a court of competent jurisdiction, its determination rested solely with the judiciary. The force will not try the case in the media, nor will it allow its outcome to be shaped by public campaign or commentary seeking to prejudge the officers or parties involved. The police, however, disclosed that the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department has invited ARG Jimoh for questioning over allegations raised against him. According to the statement, the Force Criminal Investigation Department in Abuja also issued a formal invitation to Very Dark Man on July 30, 2026, requesting that he appear before investigators to substantiate the allegation he made publicly. The police said the move demonstrated its resolve to investigate all credible allegations of misconduct, irrespective of the rank of the officer involved or the status of the complainant. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Police summon Very Dark Man, quiz AIG over allegations. Yeah, still on the Punch newspaper, talking fake agency probe reps to grill controversial DG at undisclosed location. And now to the details. The House Representative Ad hoc Committee investigating the alleged establishment of and operations of the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council has said it will interrogate the council's purported Director General Prince Adeyemi at an undisclosed location while he remains in police custody, saying the move is necessary to avoid jeopardizing ongoing investigation by security and anti-graft agencies. The committee was constituted to investigate the circumstances surrounding the alleged establishment of operations of the PFIPC, following allegations of impersonation, forgery, financial impropriety, and unlawful use of government facilities and official insignia. It is also examining how the purported council allegedly operated and the identities of those involved, the sources of its funding, and whether public institutions of official its activities. It is expected to conclude its hearings this week before submitting its report to the House of Representatives for further legislative action. The committee summoned the Court Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Sheikh Mohammed, to appear before it on Thursday over the official federal government's number plate allegedly used on vehicles linked to the purported council and concerns over how the plates were obtained. The development came after the managing director of the Vine Dopesi Nigerian Limited, Benga Collins, told lawmakers that he paid 400 million naira to Adeyemi after allegedly being promised a contract to renovate and furnish what was presented as the official residence of the agency director general. Collins said he believed the PFIPC was a genuine federal government institution because Adeyemi operated from an office of the Federal Secretary at Abuja, moved with security personnel and official vehicles bearing government number plate, and received visitors in what appeared to be authentic government offices. Collins, a graduate of Federal University Agriculture, Belkuta, said he first met Adeyemi, whom he described as a fellow indigene in Ogbomoso, during a program in their hometown in December 2024. He said, and I quote, when I arrived at the airport, he sent me an official car to come pick me up from the airport to his office at the Federal Secretariat at Abuja. When I got to his office, I met him there. He's a well-known man in Ogbomoso. I met a lot of people, very big dignitaries in his office. I met a group of security officers guarding the door. Collins said DME introduced himself as the Director General of both the Presidential Economy Advisory Council and the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council. It told lawmakers that it was his first time visiting Abuja, and the official setting gave him no reason to question DME's claims. It said, I saw police officers with him, and that was my first time in Abuja, and I am not familiar with Abuja very well. It sent his official car to pick me up from the airport. It had a federal government registration number attached to the Lexus SUV. Collins said DME later informed him that he had been allocated to an office residence as Director General and wanted Divine Dopesi Nigeria Limited to undo its renovation and furnishing. According to him, DME personally took him to inspect the property. He told me that he wanted to do refurbishment and renovations of the official house assigned to him as DG of the agency, and asked whether I would be able to undo the contract. He took me to the house, showed me the property before I slept in Abuja. We went the following day with the staff, and we went with more than 5 or 6 vehicles with security. They opened the house, took us around, and showed me what they wanted me to do. It said discussions continued until April 2025, when DME allegedly handed him a contract award letter, scope of work, and agreement between the purported council and his company. Collins told the committee that he was informed he needed to pay 400 million naira to demonstrate his company's financial capacity and facilitate mobilization for the contract. It said, I had to pay 400 million for facilitation of that project to show my strength, and I would be able to undo that project at the same time. He said it would fast track the mobilization for the contract. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Fake Agency Probe Wraps to Grill Controversial DG at Undisclosed Location. Yes, quickly, we've got our in-house political analyst on the program this morning. A beautiful morning to you, Mr. A beautiful morning to you, Akin Adebayo.
Yeah, good morning, Inioluwa.
Yes, it's nice to have you on the program again.
I see.
Yes, talking about this controversial fake agency probe, and talking about the incident that happened between the chairman at DME, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, and Mr. Collins, a graduate of Federal University Agriculture. It is said here that he is the managing director of the Divine Dopesi Nigerian Limited, Benga Collins, and he was said to pay 400 million naira. He was given a project, and he was asked to pay to confirm the fact that he had the strength for the project. He was supposed to pay 400 million naira, which he paid. And just to discover that the company was a sham, and the purported institution was a sham, and now he's saying that because of the warm welcome he received, because of the way everything looked, that he had no reason to doubt whether the company was real or it was fake. Now, what is your take on this? I feel like naturally, before a person goes into that kind of stuff, you should have your investigation. But no matter how much the investigation you would have had, there must have been so much evidence, so much proof that there must have been so much cover up that this was real for him to be convinced that it was supposed to drop 400 million naira. What do you think?
Thank you very, very much. It's so unfortunate that we find ourselves in this pathetic situation in the country. But anyway, it is not surprising to me. I think this is not the first time something of this nature would be happening. I could remember vividly there was a time a particular person paraded himself as the chief of defense staff in Lagos. He was arrested. And aside that, we've had instances during the Jonathan era where we had all manner of appointment letters flying around, where we had all manners of contract letters flying around. In fact, that reminds me of a particular incident that happened to a big boss of mine. He was given a contract in South Nigeria. I wouldn't want to mention the air company. The contract was so much processed to the extent that it even got to if I go to the secretary of the company, you can imagine. So in fact, he said he went as far as obtaining the letter from secretary of the company that before he would not start the project, that he was now asked to go and host the host community. That is the king there. The big wigs, the community members and what have you. He said he did all these things. At the end of the day, it was a scam. It could be as bad as that. So I'm not surprised that such thing is actually coming out from the probe embarked upon by the ad hoc committee on that or as of rep. And aside that, the person in question, this guy, from what we've seen so far, it's like this is not the first time doing such thing. There was time, even in the Gbomosho, he's been denied as that he's not the prince of Gbomosho. Now it's time he paraded himself as one youth ambassador, global youth ambassador for what have you. So I think with all that is happening so far, because this fraud that is happening now, this tech agency is on a very high level. I'm of the immense conviction that there are still some big wigs that's actually involved in this matter. Now, the only person that could have linked in, because he mentioned that is chief of staff to the president, and of course, it's so unfortunate that even the chief of staff, on his own part, has always featured in issues of this nature. Right here in Ondo State, there was a time a particular guy that is not from the APC party was given maybe a member or chairman of NDDC. It was later discovered that the appointment letter was fake. It was now retrieved. That was when they now sent Otitoju Atikashe to go there. Now remember the case of Better Edu of the ministry of I've forgotten that ministry. This is a ministry that has been a conduit pipe. This is the ministry that they can't even give account of their spending. You understand? It quite happened there as well. So I'm not surprised that his name is being mentioned in this case. But of course, it was the one that actually called out this guy to be probed. But my question is this. Like I've always said, for these guys to have been able to obtain a office in the federal secretariat, for him to have, if you can look at the people these guys hosted, international dignitaries, international multinationals, if he has engaged so many persons, this guy has, that's a very sensitive position. And if you look at the MDAs, ministries, department, agencies, some people continue blaming Tinubu. There's no way you can continue blaming him. Name was submitted to him. There's no way he can know what is happening. That is where the issue of you entrusting some sensitive position to the people you can actually depend on, reliable persons. It just appears to be that we tend to predate on our various spaces, offices we occupy to exploit the system. That's what I say to the whole thing. But of course, I begin to get worried because if it had to be a Senate, that is why they always refer to the American, European countries as Senate crimes. By now, Frank Gbajabiamila should have resigned for proper investigation. Now, the House of Rep now members are not saying that they want to take the guy to an undisclosed location for, he's dirty. When ordinarily, the person that should have resigned, you see, that's why, it's so funny in Nigeria that our concern is upside down, so to speak. In American, European countries, it is, you are presumed guilty. You understand? Very much you are late. But in Nigeria, you are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. Exactly. You understand? And that is why we are finding ourselves in this quagmire. Because ideally, by now, Femi Gbajabiamila should have resigned for proper investigations to be conducted on that matter. But look at him. He's one now overseeing the issue of state policing creation. To the best of my understanding, he's even featuring prominently now in some government functions. As a matter of fact, to me personally, cause for a kind of questioning. So that is a solution about the whole thing. I just pray that we do the right thing at the appropriate time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Akin Adebayo. Yes, and with that, we've come to a wrap on today's edition of In the Papers. Many thanks to you listeners out there. Many thanks to Akin Adebayo for always showing up when we call. We hope next time we call you, you will show up again.
Sure, I will.
Yes, thank you very much. Many thanks to the studio manager and the head of ICT. I hope this review has kept you informed of the conversations making rounds in the papers this morning. Until next time, I am Inioluwa Adekoya. Stay tuned to iPower 102.7 FM for endless list of entertaining and informative programs coming your way. Have a wonderful day and God bless Nigeria.